Good afternoon and welcome to the Entrepreneurs Live Show. We are absolutely honored to have an awesome international guest with us tonight on MSC Radio. We've got somebody that will blow your mind. You're going to be admiring this voice forever and ever and ever. If you listen to the voice, you're going to say, where did I hear that voice? And you most likely heard his voice in quite a few things. We are absolutely honored to have Mr. Jeff Bonano all the way from Nevada in the USA, and he is a voiceover artist of note. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jeff to the show.
Thank you very much, Todd. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm just so excited to be joining you again.
Oh man, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's always so awesome to speak to you. You know, I get excited. I'm like a little boy. Yay, I'm going to see my hero today. So this is quite awesome, Jeff. I'm really, it's an honor. And, you know, for everybody listening today, if you're listening on MSC Radio, if you're listening live on Facebook, watching the video, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're going to be blown away with Jeff and what he does. So I want to start off, Jeff, and I want to ask you, introduce yourself. Who is Jeff? Where do you stay? What do you do for a living?
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Jeff Bonano, and I'm a voiceover artist. You know that voice you hear when you watch an explainer video, or the one in that local radio advertisement you hear over and over again? Well, maybe you also hear a voice who is telling you the menu options on the phone when calling a company. Or you might be listening to that faceless narrator of a story or audiobook. Well, that is voiceover. That's what I do. So I am pretty much able to provide my voice internationally. I can be anywhere you need me to be. So it's a fairly easy thing. However, like you said, I am actually based in Nevada here in the U.S. So it's it's a prime example that you can do anything you want anywhere you want.
Oh man, Jeff, that's awesome. And you know, it's so amazing. I remember the first time I spoke to you in our first interview, I was like, oh, this guy just never should stop talking. I mean, I am truly amazed at what you do. You know, a lot of people can work with their hands, a lot of people can work with their feet. I can work with my brain, but good heavens, you've got a voice. Oh man, I wish I could talk like you. I would never stop talking.
Well, you know, that brings up a point that I hear a lot in the voiceover industry. And one of the first things I always hear is, I joined the voiceover industry because somebody said I have a good voice. Well, the surprise is it doesn't matter if you have a good voice or not for this type of job. It more depends on if you have the personality for this job. There's a lot of needs for different types of voices. And you know,
Cool.
you might see like some sort of animation where they require a woman with the very high pitch sound or something like that. You know, there you're going to you'd be surprised what kind of voices are out there in the voiceover industry. So if there is anybody that is ever interested in voiceover, don't worry about if your voice is, you know, voiceover worthy or anything like that. There's a chance that your voice is needed somewhere in some project.
Awesome. I love it. I love it when you do those voices. You know, it always amazes me just how talented you are. And it just makes my day. I'm always laughing about it. So, oh, Jeff, you are truly amazing. You're just truly amazing.
Thank
Now,
you.
I want to start off with something else. You know, the first time I met you was at a global speed networking event. And I remember one of the questions that popped into my head, and it's popping up in my head again. For those watching now, look how amazing this man's booth is. That booth is like it's like a toy for me. It's like awesome. You showed us something. I hope you will show it, you know, for my viewers tonight. What can that booth do?
Oh,
Check
geez.
this out, ladies and gentlemen.
And
This is cool.
I dropped my. Ah. There you go. It's an awesome booth, but it is a little small. It's built for one. So when you drop something on the floor, it's like, oh no. I'll just do a brief example. I can actually change the colors to kind of affect the mood.
Oh,
You know, if it's
awesome.
like something that's really melodramatic and, you know, or I just need to be, you know, very calm in my composure and my sounds, I can definitely do that. Or you know, if I just need to just
Wait.
brighten my day, I can change the color, and it really helps with my mood sometimes. So yeah, this it's pretty awesome. It was this booth actually, um I designed it myself.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah, this was one of my first real big projects. I mean, I had all the tools and all that kind of stuff to make stuff, but I never really sat down to make stuff. So I sat down after looking that, you know, a voiceover booth can range between $5,000 to $10,000,
Wow.
and that's not including shipping. Is like, okay, I'm not going to spend that kind of money, so why don't I build one? And so I actually took a lot of time to just draw out some plans, and I got the material and stuff. Some of the stuff, because of COVID and everything, it was a little more difficult to find all the material, and it took months to actually get some of the supplies. But while I was waiting, I you know, I started cutting the wood. I started piecing it together. This thing is actually designed so if I move or something like that, I can actually break it down in panels easily. Um,
Wow.
well, when I say easily, it's still like 80 pounds per panel. But
Wow.
yeah, it's got a fold away shelf and all that kind of stuff. Um,
I would.
its own power system and all that kind of fun. You know, it was a lot of fun to build. I went on making a desk for my daughter after that. And I was like, okay, I can do anything now, and I actually did. I made her a desk for our distance learning that she has to do for school and all that kind of stuff. But the lights were definitely something that I was like, I need. If I'm making this myself, I'm going to make it the way I want, and I want color changing lights. I want lights that will, you know, they actually. Let's see if I can do this. I can do it where no, that's fading. I can do it where, like, if I'm talking, there we go. I think no, I don't know. There's so many features in this thing. Oh hell.
Wow.
Okay, stop. I don't want it to flicker anymore. But it's a lot of fun. You know, I really enjoy it.
I love it, Jeff. I love that. Sorry, man. It's just I couldn't help. I needed to ask this. And you guys, for those of you who don't know, if you go and look up who Jeff Bonano is, you're going to find out an interesting fact. And he joined, actually shared this with the people earlier on the group. And I'm going to share this with the people. If
Oh,
you
boy.
actually, you know, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I do.
If you look up who Jeff Bonano is, you'll actually find out this man is more than a voiceover artist. He also ran to become mayor of his town. Now, Jeff,
Yes.
tell us about it. Voiceover artist, politician.
Oh my
Come on.
gosh. Actually, and I will give credit to the political side of things. That is what kind of really pushed me more into voiceover. And I'll explain that in a second. But in 2016, as you all know, we had a president elected in the U.S. that many people were not very happy with. And you know, I was sitting there thinking, man, we really need people in office that are going to that care, that are going to make a difference and all that kind of stuff. Because I just got sick and tired of the politics. So, you know, my wife was actually joking at the time. She's like, well, why don't you run for president? I'm like, oh, why don't I run for president? Well, I didn't have multi-million dollars and the ability to leave my job for a full year. So that kind of deterred me. But at the same time, our in our city, the current mayor at the time was stepping down. He was not going to run again. And it's like, why don't I try that? and I threw the idea at my wife, and she still thought I was joking, of course. But I was dead serious, and so I announced that I was running for mayor, and boy, let me tell you, it was quite the experience. If you can put it on your bucket list to run for any political office, one, if you can do it, I say do it, at least for the experience. You learn so much about other people, about yourself. You learn like what limits you can push yourself to and past. You learn how to public speak, which is a big thing. But then you also learn um, that sometimes if you're going to do it and you do win, you have to be prepared to actually do it. So that's the double-edged sword there is if you do get elected, yeah, you're gonna have to actually like put up or shut up type thing. And so but because of that, it was like, okay, I actually put my name out there, and I spent so much time and energy meeting people and businesses and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to let that name recognition go to waste. So I was like, okay, well, I'll still start doing things that put me out in the public's eye. So I started a podcast with a couple friends, and when I started doing the podcasting, I realized, okay, I actually have equipment from when I used to do motion design and video work for a small business that I had. And so I had all this audio equipment, might as well put it to use, dust everything off. So we did the podcast. I since broke off from that and started my own podcast, just myself, called Do Something Nice, which, by the way, shameless plug, DoSomethingNice.net is where you can find podcast episodes of, kindness and happy stories. So if you need that in your
Oh,
life,
wow.
definitely go to that. But it was like something that I was like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. I used to do voiceover for my video business, as just, something that I needed to add on to some of the work. But it's like, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed being behind the mic. So let's make this an actual voiceover career. And it's been something that I've been working on since. And with COVID, it definitely, there was a point where I was on furlough, where I was not allowed to work, because nobody had, jobs available. And so, okay, I had some spare time. Why not actually really like buy the business license and actually have an actual business and get paid to talk into a microphone for people's projects?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And Jeff, you are so talented. I keep on telling it. If I'm talking to people about anybody doing voiceover work or anything like that, your name comes up. I'm like, whoa, you have to see this. And I've got first-hand experience of what you can do. And I actually want to ask you, you did something for our company quite recently that's going to come out in our upcoming advertisements. Would you mind doing one of those lines for us?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can. Let's see. You mean, let's see. Oh, gosh. I might actually have your scripts here. I apologize. I didn't think
No
about
problem.
having
While
your
you're looking
scripts
for
up.
that, Jeff, I'm going to read some messages for you quickly.
Sure.
We've got our station manager at MSC Radio, Mr. Byron Buchan, sending a message saying, "It's a pleasure having you, Jeff, on the MSC Radio. Loving your studio, Jeff."
Thank you. Thank you
And
so
then
much.
we've also got Debbie Conlon saying, "What an inspirational person. Jeff, we love your booth. Your booth is getting thumbs up tonight, my friend."
Do you guys just want to talk to my booth? Because, it's available right now.
Love it. It
Thank
seems
you
like
so
I've got a
much.
romance with your booth.
I know. I have a love-hate relationship with this booth. While I was building it, I actually broke my toe on it. Like I said, these panels are like
Oh,
60 to 80 pounds a piece, and I was I forgot about the laws of gravity. apparently, and I didn't wear shoes at that point in time.
Oof.
And dropped one of the panels as I was disassembling it, and oh my gosh, it still hurts. That was months ago, but yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but that's funny.
Oh no, totally. So let's see here. There were a couple really short lines that you gave me for the Entrepreneur's Life magazine. And one of the fun things about voiceover artists is that we can do all different types of styles. And I actually sent you a couple different styles, something like Entrepreneur's Life Show, giving a voice to entrepreneurs. I also did something for you with a bit of a mid-Atlantic accent. Entrepreneur's Life Show on MSC Radio, bringing knowledge from successful entrepreneurs to the public. So, yeah, I always have a lot of fun. I actually recently did one for the Global Online Speed Networking, which is in their video, and that was a lot of fun. One of the challenges sometimes I get, because let's see, I was actually working with Suman Patar, and she challenged me. She's like, okay, I want something that sounds like Nas Daily. I'm like, okay. I actually, honestly, I had never actually heard of Nas Daily before. And so there's quite often times where people are like, I want you to sound like Sean Connery or Morgan Freeman. And I'm like, Morgan Freeman? Nobody can do Morgan Freeman but Morgan Freeman. But I get those requests all the time. Don LaFontaine, he was the movie trailer voice. And there are still people that are like, can you do him? And it's like, no, nobody can do him. I can get close, in a world. I can do that kind of stuff, but I'm never going to sound like him. But when people do give me, some direction like that, it actually does help. Because one, I can tell them if it's something that my voice can do or not. If not, I can help find somebody that might have that voice, especially women's voices. I can't do women's voices, obviously.
Come on, you have to try.
No, I can't. That's the best I can do.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Suman actually said, well, I'd like you to do Nas Daily. And so I spent like a half day doing some research on Nas Daily and just listening to his videos. And I realized that it's his voice is kind of like he's talking to you in the back of the room with a helicopter behind him, or like you're on one of those Survivor shows on TV, and one of the hosts and stuff like that. And so you're actually yelling in the mic. I won't do that right now to you guys, but because when I actually yell into the mic, I will adjust the levels and stuff like that, so it's not overbearing or anything like that. But when she wanted that, that's what I tried to deliver. And you can actually hear that in the video when you watch, what is global online speed networking, and me telling you it's in the kind of the style of Nas Daily.
I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. Jeff, I keep on saying this, but you're one of those people. I will literally sit for hours and hours and hours and just listen to you. I love the stories. You have to have a passion for what you do, and you clearly show it because anybody can talk, but can you talk because you love talking? I think you do. And like you say, it's challenging. And I think that must be one of the parts of your business and your work that can actually be good and bad in a sense, because like you say, people are challenging you. They're giving you weird things. I mean, come on. Like here in South Africa, we had the legend Nelson Mandela. I will come up and say, give me Nelson Mandela for Entrepreneurs Live Show. Will you be able to do it?
I would need to listen to his voice. Another thing that I have a challenging time with is any some cultures, you can just hear in their voice, um, whether it's just based off of where they live. We have Native Americans uh, who they have a certain type of voice that are very uh, it's a little different, and I can't necessarily, and I actually won't try to mimic their voice.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
you know, a middle-aged black African male, there's no way I can produce that kind of voice. And so, respectfully, I don't even try. I see auditions sometimes for they want like African male, and it's like, that's definitely not for me. I'll pass on that. But I actually can help find somebody with that voice. And again, women's voices, there's no way. So yeah. But if the like the president of our soon to be former president, he a lot of people will do his voice even poorly, and it's like, who cares? But they they will actually, they'll be like, hey, can you sound like him? And it's like, sure, I can. I can kind of like do his gestures and stuff like that. A lot of times I'll just have to like sit there and kind of listen for a minute or two, and then I can pick it up. um and I'll do that sometimes, like when I'm recording. If there's like a hard word to pronounce or something like that, I will look up that word, I will record myself saying that word, and I will have that running and repeat. And so as I'm going through like my script or whatever, it's like, oh wait, how do I pronounce that?
Oh my word.
Yeah, and that's another challenge through voiceover, is there are some very interesting words that's like, wow, how, because it's like, for example, Nevada. A lot of people that aren't from Nevada will say Nevada, and
I'm one.
yes, but that we understand that there's so many people in the world that will say Nevada because of the spelling. But like, another state is Arkansas, but I've heard people actually say Arkansas, which the way it's spelled, you would think Arkansas, but it's Arkansas. And so there's a lot of different like names that are really hard unless you actually listen to natives say those words, and you have to do research sometimes on that.
Wow, that is quite spectacular. Now, Jeff, I want to ask you this. When you get these kind of work to do, is it normally shorter kind of things to do? Have you gotten something that's been really long, like a couple of minutes, going to half an hour or so? What's the average time length that people use a voiceover artist for?
Um, the most requests usually are either a few lines up to a few minutes. Every once in a while, there'll be a script that's more than 5 minutes, and that does take a lot more time. There's also like the audiobook, um, which I haven't really done audiobooks yet. I'm open to do audiobooks, but it does take a lot of time. If somebody wants a quick turnaround time on an audiobook, it's not going to happen. But usually I can provide most of the shorter ones within a 24 to 48 hour turnaround time, which is really fast when you think about it, because what's involved is, with if I have a short few sentences, um, the first thing I have to do is I have to prep for it. I have to make sure that I know what kind of voice, what kind of style, the client is looking for. I might do some research if it's a unique request. Um, and then I'll actually get into the booth. I will pull up the script. If there's any sides, which is a term that actors use, and sides are a part of a script provided to actors for use in an audition. Like, this character has been abandoned all his life and really has a hard time talking to people. It helps, having sides. It helps the voiceover artist kind of know what kind of feeling that they need to project. If I'm doing like lines that are really sad, knowing what what the direction is really helps. And so I can prepare for that. I can come across as really sad. I can go ahead and change my booth colors to blue. And I can, and so what I'll do is after my warm-ups, I'll do trills, I'll do tongue twisters.
Oh
And
my, tongue twisters.
oh yes,
Oh,
you've
come on,
got to.
throw us one, please.
Oh, okay. Try to do it on the spot. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Um, so yeah, stuff like that.
Wow.
After you've done them for a while, it gets a little easier. But it's important because my voice is my tools that I
Yes, yes.
use, and so I have to warm up my instruments and warm everything up. And another trick that sometimes I'll do is I will talk with a pencil in my mouth, and it helps with my pronunciations. So if I need
Ah,
to work on my enunciation at all, I'll stick a pencil in my mouth and smile, and I'll talk, and I will try to say several lines, and then I'll take the pencil out, and it actually really helps. So
my word.
yeah, and that's a trick for anybody that does any kind of public speaking or anything like that. Give that a shot. Do some trills, do some tongue twisters, and you can find them. There's millions of tongue twisters out there, and just kind of like warm up your voice before you actually speak to the public or to large groups and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, I can't totally like veered off course in the conversation, I'm sure. uh,
That's no problem. This is what we do. We just chat. We enjoy it.
well, that's good because when I'm speaking unplugged and just going off the rails, I go off the rails sometimes.
See, tonight live on MSC Radio, we've got Jeff Bonano Unplugged. I
And
love it, my friend. I absolutely adore it. Just before we go on, I would like to put it out there, listeners and viewers. If you want to send Jeff a message of support or you want to send him a question, if you want to ask him, send it to 076 058 4796. You can ask him anything. You can get some answers directly from the man himself, or you can just send him a message of support. We will read it live for him. Now, Jeff, I want to go on, my friend. I want to
yes.
ask you, of all the different themes that you can get, what is your favorite theme as a voice artist?
Ooh, good question. Um, I don't know. I think what I actually enjoy the most are the conversational ones. Anything it's just conversational, like I'm talking to you now. Um, Sometimes it's hard to get myself back into conversational if I've been doing a lot of auditions for other things, and all of a sudden they want just conversational tone. I have to remember that I'm just talking like normal. So but I do enjoy those because it's the easiest to do, in the fact that people these days really want that. They're gone are the days of the car salesman type voice, like Sunday, 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 come on down. No, there's that's the today's youth, the millennials, the Gen X, the Gen Y, they don't want to hear that. They want just somebody that's going to talk to them. And you actually and after the show, for anybody listening, I can guarantee you, now that you've heard all of this, every single time you listen to a radio ad, every single time you turn on the television and see a commercial, every single time you listen to an audiobook or an explainer video, you're going to notice the narrator. You're going to notice the voiceover artist now. And it's one of those things that will never leave you anymore. You're gonna be like, oh, that's a voiceover artist. Oh,
Yep.
the person on the phone that's telling me to press 9 now, that's a voiceover artist. Unless it's one of those artificial intelligent voices, which you don't want one of those.
They suck.
Yeah, you can still tell that it's not a real voice. And the benefit of having an actual voiceover artist, yes, they're a little bit more expensive, but you're making an investment. You're making an investment in the communication you are giving to your customers, to your listeners. And what what you invest and how it's said to your customers says a lot about who you are. So the question is, do you really want to have one of those cheap artificial intelligent voices that says that you just want to get something out there and you don't really care? Or are you willing to actually invest in your company and invest in your message and make it good? And that's one of the biggest challenges that I face all the time with things like Fiverr. Fiverr,
Mm,
it's a great company, I guess, for something quick, but you get what you pay for. And
absolutely.
I will say though, there's a lot of voiceover artists that do it for a living on Fiverr. That kudos to them, but for $10 for something that I would probably charge $200 to $300, um, I include my time, my experience. I include um, my training and all that kind of stuff. I make sure that the amount that I put in, you're getting a lot when you work with me and stuff like that. Dawid, you yourself even had
Yes.
the opportunity to work with me, and one of my things is I don't want you to accept the project until you're happy. On Fiverr, it's like once it's sent, it's accepted and it's done. If you want any changes, you're going to have to pay for it again. I work in some conditions that enable you to make sure that you're really happy with the service that you get. So you get what you
And
pay for.
that is one thing I can testify to. Um, your service is excellent. I mean, you make sure that your customer is happy. You say, "There's your options. Choose what you like," and then from there on, do you like this? Should I change? Should I do this? It's amazing, Jeff. Jeff, I've got a message for you from Yashina, and she's saying, "Where do you get your inspiration from, Jeff? It is so interesting to hear your choice of career."
um, well, I mean, like I said earlier, the thing that really kicked me into gear was the politics of all things. Um, but I've always enjoyed talking to people. And growing up, I was always making sounds with my noise, whether it be, blasters and a lightsaber, or pretending that I'm speaking to my class or something like that. But I was always talking. I was always, doing something. And as I got older and older, I found that I was really interested in, theatrical arts. And so like in school, I used to do acting and all that kind of stuff. My most favorite one was always performing as Hamlet in Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Oh,
Yes. And I actually got a award as a kid for a most realistic performance. And I got that because of the death scene. Um,
oh, wow.
Spoiler alert if you haven't read Hamlet, yeah, he dies. but but it was like I could just die, or I could uh, type die. I could really like draw it out. I could really produce on stage, and I really enjoyed it. And so it always stuck with me. As I've gotten into the actual career of voiceover, um, I've always been interested in Hollywood. I've always been really interested. One of my ultimate dreams is either doing a voiceover for a something that's syndicated, either nationwide or internationally wide,
Oh,
or
wow.
being hey Disney, by the way, if you are looking for something for an upcoming role, please give me a call. I'm available. I would love to
We
work for
support
Disney,
you for
or
that.
right? It would be so cool. Disney, Pixar.
I
Um,
can imagine you like in Pixar, like doing Shrek's voice or even a donkey. I think donkey would be awesome for you. I can just imagine it. It's gonna be cool.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah. So, well, there you go. So, Disney, please, by all means, give me a
Disney,
call.
call him. He
Yes.
he's the perfect one for you. You don't need other people. He can do all the voices for you.
Right, exactly. I mean, or have me work alongside Kristen Bell. I would love that. You guys would be my favorite. I'll watch all your movies if you do that for me. You're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now there's another one for you. And this is quite special. This is my wife sending you a message. I don't know why she's sending you a message, but she's sending you one. Leonie is saying, I think this is such a cool talent. Kudos to you, my friend. Kudos. That's
Thank you.
awesome. And we've got another question for you. What advice would you give to people who want to choose this as a career choice? Now, that's a good question.
That is a very good question. I've had that question a couple times recently, even. First of all, yes, it's a lot of fun. And it's, there's a lot of pluses to this. But voiceover is doing the actual voiceovers is probably only about 25% of the actual job. That's the big thing that a lot of artists don't realize. The rest of the time is me running a business, marketing myself, getting my name
Mm,
out there, and auditions. When you first start out, when I first started out, well, heck, I'm still doing it. I'm throwing out at least 10 auditions a day, every day,
wow.
Monday through Sunday, um, because there's there's a lot of people that are looking for voiceover artists, but there's also a lot of voiceover artists. There's a lot of people that want to be voiceover artists that just don't have the experience yet, which is fine. Everyone starts somewhere. But being willing to put in the extra training, I actually went to the voiceover school taught by Amanda Sellers and Mike Shirko, and they actually have been doing voiceover for over 10 years. Yeah, and they're actually a really good school to go to. The voiceoverschool.com is a really good place to learn things, and you'll actually see me in that community actively.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
always talking with people in that group. But you also always are going to need to constantly retrain. Matter of fact, after the holidays, I plan on training with a woman called Amy Breedlove, who at our local Target stores, she actually is the voice of the self-checkout kiosks.
No
Uh,
way.
so yeah, so I'm planning on after the holidays having her as do some coaching sessions with me, and you're always
Wow.
doing that. The other side of it is the equipment. There is an investment. A lot of people are like, oh, you can spend maybe $80 for a cheap microphone, headphones, and you're good. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily the case. It is a good start, and you buy whatever you can afford at the time, and as you get gigs, you can upgrade and all that kind of stuff. But um, do be prepared to make some sort of investment. This guy right here is, like a $400 mic, and
That's beautiful. I'm checking
it,
it.
it's my baby,
It's a
and
shirt, right?
it's a low end mic. Yeah, it's a Shure SM7B. Um,
Oh, beautiful.
it's been around for a while. It's been on the Howard Stern show. It's gotten around. So and it's a really good investment, but you also need like a preamp. You're going to need a cloud lifter for this thing. Before you know it, you've already spent like almost $1,000 on just the audio equipment. Um, and so there is an investment, but you get whatever you can afford, and you work your way up. Um, but yeah, and then you get to the point like where you're building something like this.
Ah,
Um,
the beaut.
it's amazing. It's nice to have something like this because I get an audition, I can jump right in, do the audition real quick, send it off, and go about my day. With COVID, it's been very nice because I just go down into my booth for a couple minutes, or when I actually working with a client, um, I can do a directed session. That's another thing, you have to get used to doing directed sessions, where you are actually like talking with the client and they're giving you direction as you're doing it.
Oh
If you're
my.
not good at public speaking, this is where you might start getting nervous, because if you, while you're talking with them, you're doing your lines and they're like, oh, wait, can you maybe go back and do it this way, or do it that way, or whatever. And sometimes it can be very nerve-wracking if you're not used to getting direction from somebody as you're doing it. So
Wow, that is quite awesome. We've got another question for you. First of all, a comment. Um, and this is a good comment. We agree with you on this one.
okay.
Disney needs to definitely give you a call. See, the public is agreeing with you. The public has spoken, and if the public has spoken, they must listen. The question, what is your biggest challenge in this industry?
It's marketing. The biggest challenge in this industry is marketing, because there is there's a lot of classes on how to be a voiceover artist. There's a lot of coaching opportunities that you can take up, but a lot of people, when they get into this, they don't realize that they can talk all day long in the microphone, but if people don't see you, they don't know you, they're going to pick somebody that does.
Mm.
They're going, and one of the things that the voiceover artists a lot of do, they go on these what's called pay to play sites, and so they pay a membership. It's like $400 to $800 a year, and what that does for them is that gives them a chance to go to like these popular sites that a lot of clients will sign up and say, we need a voiceover artist for our script, and they submit it. And then the large pool of voiceover artists that are part of that community, they get that audition, and you might get, as a client, 50 to 100 or more auditions. And so as a voiceover artist, you're competing against 50 to 100, and the client may not necessarily listen to every single one of those auditions, especially once you get to about 50. You start getting fatigued as a client. It's like, yeah, I've heard it, heard it. um and if you didn't get like right at the top of the list, there's a chance you never get heard. So,
Oh my.
and we all play that part. I'm on several of those sites, and I audition all the time, but only a small portion of the jobs that I get are through those pay to play sites. I get enough where I recover the costs of those memberships, but really I get the benefit of being a voiceover artist when I market myself and when I'm actually out there and I'm talking with people and word of mouth. um, and that's where I get my repeat business. I continuously work with people, and that's the huge meat and potatoes of the business is that marketing and business side of it.
Yeah, that's hectic. But it's like any business, if you want to do anything, you need to market. But most businesses, it's like, we're selling chips, we're selling this. People get used to it. The voiceover artist, like you say now, I mean, yeah, I didn't even think of that, on a list and people listening. I know if I listen to things, I get well bored after a few. And like you say, you get tired. And I never realized that that is gonna be a serious challenge for you guys. So yeah, respect for that. It takes a lot. Now, Jeff, I want to ask you a question. If let's say you do 100 auditions, how many out of that 100 auditions, just theoretically, will you get into work?
Mm, maybe one or two.
Nah, that
um
that's that that's a hard one to answer, but it's
yeah.
wow,
And
wow.
it's if I'm doing auditions through those sites and stuff like that, yeah, the ratio is pretty high. When I first started, I did over 800 auditions before I got my first paid gig, and that was
Wow.
over a course of only a couple months. I was that dedicated, and every single time something came into my mailbox, I jumped into my booth and I was auditioning, and sometimes I would have 15 auditions in my queue waiting for me, even if it was like I probably don't fit that part. Let's give it a shot anyway, and I would give it a try. But out of those, when I first started, out of the um, 600 auditions I did, I got shortlisted, which is put in like the client's favorite list of a couple people. I got shortlisted maybe 60 times, and out of those 60, I
Wow.
got hired for one. So it's a numbers game when you're doing that, and that's another reason why marketing is so important as a
Yes.
voiceover artist, because it is a tough gig, and you really have to be dedicated to to do this. And once you actually work with the client, you want to make sure that the clients love you, that they are excited to work with you, so that next time they do need somebody, they're like, oh wait, I know a voiceover artist that's perfect for this. I worked with them before. And so it's and I that's where I really attribute running for a political role back in the days helped, because it's like you got to learn how to talk to people, you got to learn how to be nice to people, and you got to learn how to just be I hate to say a people person, because everybody talks to people, but you've got to learn how to be able to communicate, really.
No, man, I agree with you on that, Jeff, and it's totally amazing. Now, guys, before we're going to end off the show tonight, I first of all want to inform you that you can read more about Jeff and his journey in the upcoming Entrepreneurs Life magazine coming out on the 14th of December. You're going to see who Jeff is, what he does. All his links and everything will also be in there for you guys. You can also find Jeff on the Entrepreneurs Life app, and you can make contact with him directly and use him. This guy is amazing. His work is amazing. His ethics is amazing. I mean, this is the perfect gentleman in business. But before I'm going to let him go tonight, I'm going to ask him to do us a little voice if he doesn't mind. If he would do it for us, you can do anything that you feel with. I just love hearing what you do and laugh when you do your thing. It's really amazing. And it's like you say, you make an impression on people so much that when we hear something, I'm like, Jeff can do that better. I've done it a few times. I listen to people and I'm like, I'm going to call him and tell him, your ad sucks. Get Jeff.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it's been a pleasure to be on your show and always working with you. And so I'm really excited to talk to any of your viewers and stuff like that. Um, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kermit the Frog. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here, reporting live on Entrepreneur's Life Show. Ah! How's that?
I love it. You know, I love it. Oh man, that's absolutely amazing. I actually want to talk to you about that. That will make a great advertisement. That is so, so, so beautiful. Man, you are absolutely talented. And Jeff, from many listeners, I'm not going to mention names. I'm just getting messages here like, whoa, this is awesome. Jeff is like the ultimate guest on the show. We love him. We love what he's doing. Kudos to you. Thank you for doing this. Some people are saying, yay, Disney is going to hire Jeff. Everybody's just excited for your future because, Jeff, you are amazing. And I want to thank you for making the time. Oh, yeah. And just by the way, what time is it there in the USA at the moment?
It is right now 8:55 a.m. And actually today for us here in the U.S. it's Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, my
So
heavens.
we're celebrating the holidays with Thanksgiving today, and so nobody is working. Well, there are some people that are working, and kudos to them. I appreciate everything that they do, especially our frontline support workers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Thanksgiving for our nation right now, and but it's early in the morning, and
Oh,
uh,
beautiful, man.
yes,
Happy Thanksgiving to you from everybody in South Africa and all over the world. And yeah, Jeff, just absolutely, you must enjoy it. I mean, It's beautiful, and thank you for offering up such an important public holiday to be with us. I mean, my friend, you're amazing, and I
Thank you.
thank you for being on the show, listeners. Um, before we go, Jeff, can I share your website with them? Would you like to share it?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You share it for us.
Yeah, definitely. And for anybody that wants to reach out to me, send me an email first of all at jbonano, as JBONANO. I almost forgot my last name. At jeffbonano.com. And that's the website is jeffbonano.com. And you can listen to all my types of demos. If you don't hear what you're looking for, shoot me a line and I'd be happy to do a free sample audition for something that you might have, and we can definitely talk about some options. Plus, if you sign up to my newsletter, you will get an additional $50 off or 20% off, whatever is more, for signing up for my newsletter. When you and you can use that for your first contract with me. And so there's a win-win right there. Plus, every
Beautiful.
single month, I send out some tips and advice from a voiceover artist, namely me. But I like to share the wealth and give you some advice and all that kind of stuff. And it's only when I have something to say. I'm not gonna like totally spam you every single day or anything like that. It's once a month. Maybe I might send something out here and there on top of that. But yeah, it won't clutter your email or anything like that.
Oh man, that's awesome. And just thank you, Jeff. Just absolutely thank you.
No,
And
thank
I
you
hope
so
you go
much.
and enjoy your turkey there and gobble, gobble, gobble.
Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Dawid. And thank you to everybody at Entrepreneur's Life. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. And everybody listening and watching, we'll be back tomorrow with another awesome interview. And remember to connect with our friend Jeff and make sure your voice gets heard. Jeff is the voice you want to get heard with. Enjoy it and just have an absolutely beautiful Thanksgiving to everybody celebrating it. And see you soon. Thank you very much and enjoy your night.